On today's episode of I Need More Garage Space, also Why Do I Live in the Midwest, it is about 90,000 degrees out, and I'm going to work on my super awesome 1971 Plymouth Duster. This has been a long time coming, haven't really gotten a whole lot done. We just replaced the lower ball joints after a failed alignment attempt. Next, we're going to have to address a transmission leak and an engine oil leak. The transmission leak will be prioritized to the leak in the transmission has been going on for a while. We've tried aftermarket dipsticks, gaskets, etc. We've been staying away from the RTV simply for the fact that I just don't like the mess, but it's come down to I'm gonna RTV the damn thing. I've had enough of it. Gone through about 12 quarts of oil in the last couple weeks, and that's just too much. I don't have that transmission ATF+4 money. Thank you Mopar for nothing. We're gonna go ahead and get started on that. Starting out at the bottom, we're gonna go ahead and drain the oil, kind of clean everything up first, hope for the best, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Moving on to the bottom of the car, the first thing you're going to see is about 90 million pounds of floor dry and a huge stain around it. That's for good reason. Our lovely, awesome 727 transmission decided to leak out of every orifice that it could think of. I don't know if you saw that, but there's a drip right there. So what we're going to do to handle that is drop the pan, RTV the gasket, RTV the O-ring inside of the dipstick tube, and hopefully, just hopefully, we can actually keep our fluid in. There's our shop mascot, Archer the Corgi. Hello, buddy. Hi. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started on that. He's gonna be our main mechanic here because I am sick of working on it. So we got a bunch of fluid coming out. Oh, this video is gonna be upside down all around. Trying to show the best I can. We got plenty of fluid coming out. We're gonna go ahead and take a small screwdriver, pry down on that gasket. We're gonna go ahead and empty all this, and then I'll pull off this pan, and we'll go from there. Now that your arm looks like it belongs in a serial killer movie, go ahead and drain all of that fluid, which is currently draining into that teeny tiny pan, which I'm sure will overfill and spill everywhere, and that'll be just great. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and drop that pan, check out the gasket, figure out if there was an issue, and we'll move on from there. While the transmission pan is completely draining all over my garage floor, let's go ahead and take a moment to thank our sponsors, Red Bull. Just kidding. Nobody sponsors me here.
2 hours later.
Pan dropped. You can go ahead and inspect it. There's a little bit of dirt. I don't know if we can see this. There is some dirt. It looks to me why the reason it was leaking is some absolute nincompoop of a mechanic, more than likely YouTube certified. He probably has no ASE degree, and he just does it as a hobby. But I'm fairly confident that he's the one who installed this. Wait a minute, what's this? Installed, but in all reality, yes, I did install it without a gasket. I threw it together really quickly when I had this car done right before wintertime, and so that's obviously why it's leaking. You kind of need a gasket in between your pan and your block, or the transmission body on this point. I'm gonna go ahead and get a gasket from good old O'Reilly's, the only place to ever shop. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some RTV on there for extra insurance, pull out the dipstick tube, get that RTV'd up for, once again, extra insurance. I understand there's a O-ring there, but you never know. Some things leak, and I'm honestly sick of transmission fluid being all over my floor. I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, clean up the area, inspect the pan a little further, inspect the filter, ensure that it is fine and that there's no metal shavings or dirt, debris, etc. While we're sitting here and trying to get her all cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and spray it with some degreaser. Just clean up the insides. There was a little bit of dirt, but I think that's because when I installed it, I, to be honest with you, didn't clean it very well. Sounds like a amateur move, that's fine though. Just using some purple power, get this all cleaned up. We're going to go ahead and clean the inside, clean the outside, wire brush it, and then probably paint the bottom just to make sure that all this rust and stuff, obviously this is on the inside, but there's a little bit of rust on the bottom that we're going to have to take care of. We'll just probably paint it black. How you think, buddy? You think black will work? Okay. You know, I'd say that's probably at least 17.7% better than what it was prior. He agrees. Looking at the underside, we cleaned it up. I don't know how well that can be seen. It's quite bright out. We cleaned it up a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and add another coat of paint to it. And just remember, kids, you know, whenever you think, man, my car is just slow. Maybe it's a Mustang, who knows? But you think, man, my car is slow. All you have to do is just add some paint. That's all you gotta do. That'll add at least 6 horsepower per coat. 2 coats, 12. And then if you really want to be on top of things, add some stickers. Throw them here, throw them there, whatever you wish. That's at least 50 horsepower by the end of the day of your project. Since the last time I had filmed, it's about 48 hours ago. Time kind of got out of my hands. I kind of got distracted by a lot of things. So, oil pan, looking much more desirable. Black instead of rust brown, which is awesome. Went ahead and grabbed a gasket from O'Reilly's. So we're gonna go ahead and RTV this bad boy up, slap that on there, RTV the gasket, and then ensure that all the surfaces are clean. We're gonna do that prior to RTVing it. Get it all sandwiched up in there and let it dry for 24 to 48 hours before I put fluid in the transmission. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get this all buttoned up and we'll catch up when this is ready to be installed. Remember when you're installing your transmission bolts to always pre-lube them, you know, by dropping them in the pan that you've been using for the last 2 days to catch all the fluids. And then you can go fishing. Well, that was easy. All right, just remember there is in fact a torque spec for each one of these. Mine is extension all the way out and set the old elbow torque right to where we need it. And she's torqued. Perfect. Now for the next one. Yep, right about there. All right, after all those bolts have been nice and snug down and torqued to spec, when you torque them down, be sure to do a crisscross pattern so the gasket seats evenly, and the RTV that I put on there. I also RTV'd the dipstick tube. I know you can't see it very well, so we aren't going to try and go too deep into that. But overall, it was a pretty smooth process. Kind of got that finished up. That was the biggest thing I had to do today, was get that done. With that out of the way, we can move on to other things. Engine leak, that's obviously a given. We do have some top management stuff, such as relocating the battery to the rear. That'll be another video. Moving on to the interior a little bit, we are going to have to replace the carpet. I'm personally going to do a new steering wheel, throw the old dash pad on, which is back there. It's kind of messy, ignore that. Then we just need the tachometer, remove the column shifter here since we have a floor shifter now. Overall, I think that's about it. Gonna throw her back in the alignment shop hopefully next week, maybe be on the road late next week. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions below, and I will see you guys later.